air that makes our brain feel things. For example, summertime ice cream, tomato soup with grilled cheese. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Notice how some of those made you feel things? Sometimes some of that wiggly air or textile feeling, it makes us suffer. And lately, I've been thinking about the ones that make me suffer, and I'm curious if these are normal. Like, there was this one time I was unloading the dishwasher and I had made a mistake that I didn't think would be a mistake. Earlier, when I was choosing all of the settings for the dishwasher, I put all of the settings on max because that's what I always did, which seems like it would make sense. If you want to clean your dishes, why not choose the setting that makes the dishes the cleanest, right? Apparently, doing it too much can change how your glass dishes feel. I went to put away one of the glasses, and when I touched it, I felt such a discomfort that I let out an audible blech. The best way I can describe how it felt was squinchy. Like when you touch it, it feels like a squinch, which is obviously terrible. It's like if glass was more grippy. This is what it sounds like, by the way. Has anybody else come across this? Do you know? Do you understand? Can you look into my heart and feel what I feel? In college, I had a roommate that would set up a ton of alarms that would go off every 5 minutes in the morning to wake him up for class. And it would go off for like an hour or so. Unfortunately, for the guys who lived in the dorms next to us, I was the same way. So every morning, it was like... So now, whenever I hear the iPhone alarm, I feel some kind of primal fear. It's terrible. But the weird thing is, these days, I don't wake up to an alarm anymore. I wake up when my dog wakes me up. And how she wakes me up, she'll get into bed, and she'll start wagging her tail. And you'd think that the same thing would happen. I would hate the sound of her tail, but I don't. I love it when she wags her tail, because she's a cutie patootie. She deserves happiness at all times. What do you find? Is this nails on chalkboard, or perhaps sponsorships? Private network. NordVPN has many features, such as being installable. Install it on any of your devices. You can have internet protection wherever you go. Protection from what, you may ask? Not me. You need to worry about me. I'm not dangerous. NordVPN protects you from things like malicious ads, malware, intrusive tracking, all things that are more dangerous than me. Use promo code ice cream to get NordVPN 2 plus 4 extra months for free. This is for a 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN for sponsoring this video. I take care. I've been doing anything except for being on ads, in food, on my desk, in my face. The worst is when you hold on. You know that sound? Content warning. I'm about to play that sound. So that we won't have to have this horrible sound in our ears ever. Or everybody could just go bald and that would probably just solve a ton of problems. Maybe you can figure out why I hate this one. I don't know, but you know socks? It'd be kind of surprising if you didn't, but anyway, socks, they keep your feet warm. They are the best in winter and can have fun little designs on them to make you look cool. But when you wear them in bed, I would not be able to sleep. I want them off. I would rather have no feet entirely. Why is that? Your feet are so far away from the core of your body, it would only make sense to keep them warmest when you want to be warm and cozy, which would be at night in bed. You know, after working out and you get really sweaty, or not even working out, you just like, when you get really sweaty, and then your shirt also gets extra sweaty, and then somebody comes along and tries to hug you. Ugh. I don't even want my shirt to be touching me, let alone some other person. Would it be possible to liquid cool a person? Sure. Saying that out loud makes me seem really dumb. But like, if you take, you know, those gamer computers that have liquid cooling in them, could you do that with a shirt and then put that shirt on a person? I think that would be cool. I think one of the worst feelings in the world is at the dentist's office. You go to the dentist's office, you need your teeth cleaned. They're like, hi, but then they crack out with a little scratchy thing. Maybe asking, I can think of way more, such as, what if this happened? Yeah, it is worse than that, okay? Anyway, not all. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go do a cozy thing as palate cleanser. Better than to steal cookies from the cookie jar. You know, I never told you this, but if little children eat cookies before dinner time, they spoil their appetite. That way, they from their eyeballs, and they will fly away into the sun where they will explode. Hot take of the day, I think lies, they're bad. If you lie to somebody, there stands a chance that you can really hurt them. It's fine! Go over there. Don't worry, it's safe. Why would you do that? But sometimes kids can be unruly. And I'm not a parent, so I don't know what's considered good parenting and bad parenting. But sometimes as kids, to keep the peace, we were lied to. And I think about that sometimes. At least for the lies that I was told when I was a kid, I think it's mostly fair. But come here, I gotta show you something. This video is sponsored by Opera Browser. Are you looking for a cool browser packed with features? Oh, and you know, Opera Browser is a browser that has features. Are you like me and have about 600 tabs open at any given time? No? Weird. Normal browsers would shred resources like RAM, CPU, and battery. But Opera Browser is built different. Literally, it is built with features such as battery saving mode. So if you have 600 tabs open, which is very normal, it won't tank your battery, so you can do other important things on your computer for longer. And if your tabs are getting super cluttered from doing all kinds of important research, you can use workspaces to organize and simplify your browsing by switching context from one click at the top of your sidebar. Wonderful! Now you can get back to gaming without needing to worry about your browser. Opera Browser also allows you to customize your browser's experience with things like wallpapers and custom sounds. Thank you, Opera, as stated before, flying bad. But I can empathize with parents if they need a little bit of look back on my childhood and remember how I was lied to. Like one time when I was a kid, I was told if I keep making that face, it will stick that way. I remember she was making it different. You gotta be careful, because if you keep I didn't believe this, but I should have. I am very gullible and believe most things. I would say 45% of my working memory, misinformation. But either way, in my opinion, this lie is fine. I admittedly was being a walking headache, and this lie, it really isn't that damaging. Unlike some other folklore tales, like little German boys being told not to put your fingers in pie or else you're going to be taken away by a monster. Oh my goodness! A long time ago, there was a time where backlit things didn't exist, or were at least very rare. And if you were in a car or you wanted to read spooky goosebumps, I remember lots of times on road trips I wanted to play Pokemon on my Game Boy, but I didn't have any backlit stuff. Make it. I do want to during every to do any of this, I needed like a simple thing to come by these days. At that time, not things to have. Going on the screen. I can't remember if I just didn't have it at the time or it broke. Either way, I needed the top of it, so I turned it on, and then my dad turns it off. Apparently, as my dad put it, it was illegal. I remember thinking, of course I can't turn that on now. If I did, then we would get pulled over, and then my dad would be put in jail, and then I would have to drive. We all know how that would go. Pokemon Master, not a NASCAR. It's a job, so how am I supposed to post bail? Sorry, Dad. My only option was to wait. Look out the window. 10 little guys running around, dodging all the stuff that we're driving past. If you look at the law, there's nothing in here about inner lights. mankind. Pokemon. I do know now it's harder to see when the inner lights are on. I didn't understand at the time how important visibility was. However, I would learn how very vital it is years later while attempting to get my own life. Do you need sunglasses? No, I'm fine. Now I understand. Kids tend to things are out of it. This can become a problem when you learn how to swim. So when give me that. Spice in the soup. Just like, oh no, that's just for me. Don't worry. Now looking back, I'm glad that I was lied to, because I stopped being cool right away. Who knew lies could be so effective? Unbelievable. Did you know that gives you scurvy? Just saying. Okay, so when I was recording this earlier, I was gonna say a thing about how lifesavers are a candy that helps prevent kids from choking with a little hole in the center. But did you know that's also a myth? I was told that the inventor designed the candy like that because his kid choked on candy, and he didn't want other kids to befall the same thing. And that's also why it's called lifesavers, because it's saving lives. Turns out that's wrong. He just wanted to make candy that looked like lifesaver movies. It's just kind of disappointing. Why not make candy of something cool? Like me. They say that cracking your knuckles ruins your hands, but I've been cracking my knuckles for years. Look how they turned out. Does this look broken or mangled to you? Take a close look. I'm just gonna switch this off. Did you stop? Oh, no, so worried about cracking my knuckles because I would often hear people say, I get arthritis. Do you want that? I don't want arthritis. I need my hands. Unfortunately, it became a habit, so I did it a ton. Then I started to crack sternum somehow, my neck, it was getting up. And then just told them they need to stop because of health. But also, it just kind of makes sense. It doesn't. Maybe one day my fingers. Anyway, lies are bad. But when I look back on it, maybe not all lies are bad. And maybe it was just people trying to guide me along a better path in life, which is kind of sweet. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to lie to everyone. Okay, bye.
Save your groceries. For the love of food. Ziploc.
You know the feeling you get when you get in trouble? Hey, hands on the cookie jar! You're not supposed to be having cooking! Woo-woo! I got you red-handed! Woo-woo! Not a good feeling. Or the feeling of when you get in trouble but you didn't do anything wrong. All that shame mixed with all that rage. It's an intense feeling. A terrible feeling. I don't like it. I've gotten into trouble for things that are absolutely not my fault. I've experienced injustice. However, went to dole out some justice. Hey, principal's office now. Oh. This is clearly unfair, but I thought I could square it off with the principal since, you know, it's an unfair situation, obviously. And nobody in their right mind would put a victim in the doghouse for their absolute innocence. Right? I hear you two have a constitution. Fight it. Playground? No. Doesn't matter who hits you first. Do not make excuses. This is a lesson. Fighting things you know are send a note to your parents. Be thankful that is all I am doing. Go back to your classroom. As we walked back to class and I thought about what just happened, I was feeling like I had learned something. All right, boys, what's our takeaway? Principals are scary. We need to articulate better. Sometimes authority figures are wrong and people can make mistakes when trying to do good, ultimately resulting in injustice. No, wait, guys, I got it. All right, yeah, good work, team. We did it. All right. Yeah. Woo! And I never talked to Devin again. That wasn't the only time I went to the principal's office. Other times, technically, because I broke the rule, but only because I was being cool. I'm not about to apologize for being cool. I was in high school studying one day I thought it was really cool to tell my friends to do magic. Eventually, American school systems know there are really dumb rules that don't always make sense. For example, you're not allowed to do that. No, school that bans playing cards, voting, gambling, just a but I really wanted to show my friends the magic trick even though I was not allowed. I brought the cards anyway. Later, when I got into study time, I took out my deck of playing cards to show my friends the magic trick. Is this your card? Whoa. How did you do that? Ah, yes. Classic curiosity. But a magician never reveals stuff. But then, some other people in the class that I knew saw part of what was going on, so they came over to check it out. Hey, what are you guys doing? It's a magic trick. Yeah, it's super cool. How did you do that? Well, you know.
Magic!
I want to see. So I did the trick again. Is this your card? Oh, yeah. Cool. How'd you do that?
Magic!
But then the class supervisor noticed people having fun. How dare we? What are you guys doing? Oh, just magic trick. That's all. You're not supposed to be playing cards. You know that, right? Well, yeah, but we are playing games. We're just, yeah. Okay, principal's office. What? Why? You talk back to me. Pack your stuff and go. So I went down to the principal's office with a lot of shame and bitterness. Why did he have to scold me in front of everyone? Talking back. Explain. We were having fun, not gambling. The rule doesn't even make sense. We were having a good time. Hey, I hear you were playing cards in class. All the emotions transferred out. No sudden noises or movement. Oh no! I could tell the teacher was getting really close to snapping because she gave us an ultimatum. The next person to tune their recorder cannot play for the rest of class. Okay, so to play this note... Okay, who was that? But nobody answered. So I thought I should just clear my name right off the bat. So I said, was it me? Okay, Andy, put your recorder under your chair. You cannot play for the rest of class. Wait, but it wasn't me. Recorder under chair. Oh, I see. We're punishing honesty now. I laid my soul bare. Is this how we think justice should work? Okay, defendant, how do you plead? you say that? You said you're innocent. So obviously, 20 years, no bail. So I put my recorder under the chair, looked around the room, trying to find out who the real rule breaker was, so I could clean my now tarnished reputation. Somewhere out there is a criminal, a wrongdoer, walking free, and I'm here bearing the burden of their crimes. But in the end, I never found them, and I ended up taking all the blame. Hey, what? Check it out, I made a new plush. Let me acquire him if you desire. The plushie is live now. We're doing pre-orders and then shipping him out in September. So if you want him, he is here and he is small. Thank you and thanks for watching.
So chew.
And big! Chips Ahoy. Big chew.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior work and life and job experience.
So like a while ago I made a video about Inside Out, the first one, the good one. And in that video I said this: Inside Out is probably Pixar's last great movie. Turning Red is very good. It's very good, okay? But I just don't think it has that same Pixar magic that like WALL-E, Up, Monsters Inc. or Inside Out have. Actually, Coco might be up there too. I don't remember. I have to watch it again. But crazy plot twist. Turns out I don't think I ever actually saw Coco. Like, I think in my head I was confusing it with like Luca and Encanto or something. But anyway, so Coco came out in 2017 and was yet another home run for Pixar. Critics loved it, audiences loved it. It was the biggest thing of all time. Now, even though I've done Beetlejuice, and Hotel Transylvania, I wanted one more kind of sort of like Halloween themed video for the year. Now, to be fair, Coco is not Halloween. It's about being little twins. But that holiday is November 1st, so close enough. So, come on, kids, let's take a walk. The movie starts out with some backstory about the family of our main character.
Sometimes it comes first. It's something that happened before I was even born. See, a long time ago, there was this family. The papa, he was a musician.
Okay, well, there's your first mistake. If you don't think worse than dating a musician is dating a music, probably. Honey, the algorithm's at it again, I tell you what. Yep, sure is, honey.
But he also had a dream to play for the world. And one day, he left with his guitar and never returned.
Hey, what do you know? My dad also left to follow his dreams, except his dream was going to 7-Eleven to buy cigarettes. Anyway, so because the dad left, his wife was all by herself to raise her daughter. Hold on. My dude, you left this? Are you stupid? So the wife took care of herself and her daughter by making shoes, and then she taught her daughter how to make shoes. And long story short, now the Rivera family are known as the best shoemakers in town.
You see, that woman was my great-great-grandmother, Mama Imelda. She died way before I was born. But my family still tells her story every year on Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. And her little girl, she's my great-grandmother, Mama Coco.
You know, there's a good handful of kids I went to high school with who got like really into drinking, and then they really got into drinking in college, and now here we all are in our mid-30s, and they kind of look a lot like this. Anyway, so this is Mama Coco, Miguel's great-grandmother, but she has dementia, and she's about 400 years old, so she kind of just sits there while Miguel tells her all kinds of random nonsense.
How are you? Actually, my name is Miguel. Mama Coco has trouble remembering things, but it's good to talk to her anyway. So I tell her pretty much everything. I used to like this, but now I don't like this. It's just way faster.
Well, like really though, like you ever try talking to kids? I got nieces and nephews, and like they're all just the worst storytellers of all time. Literally every conversation is just.
Have you ever had a dream that you want?
But okay, so something else really important to know about this family is that because the great-great-grandfather left to pursue music of all things, the wife he left and all their further descendants have sworn off music forever. No music allowed, no sir, no ma'am. Probably the only Mexican family in history who has ever said that.
No music. No music. Only family in Vegas plays music. See, my family's fine with that. But you got that logic. Love you, Mama.
Wait, hold on, Miguel. That's your mom? Your dad pulled a Pixar 10 by making shoes? The heck have I been doing this whole time? Anyway, so shocking plot twist. Miguel loves music. Like loves music, okay? He's become obsessed with the music and stardom of this guy, Ernesto de la Cruz, a.k.a.
Ernesto de la Cruz, the greatest musician of all time.
No, but like seriously though, this dude's butt chin is more cheeked up than a thumb from Spy Kids.
He started out to nobody from Santa Cecilia, like me. He started movies. He had the coolest guitar.
but like, there's just something so funny about this 8-year-old kid in 2017 who's like obsessed with this actor, musician guy from the 1930s. Like, imagine a 10-year-old kid in 2024 just being like really into Don Knotts, you know what I mean? Honey, are you sure you don't want a cell phone? You can watch TikToks all day. Get out of my room, Mom! The Andy Griffith Show's on again. But yeah, so Miguel wants to be a singer, guitar player, dude guy, just like his idol, Ernesto. But remember, his family hates music. I'm sure you can probably see where this movie's going.
Until 1942. When it was crushed by a giant wave. Sometimes I look at the like but his feelings, we connected somehow.
Wait a minute, your great-great-granddad left to be a musician, and then here's some guy from some little town who went on to become a famous musician? Nah, this might be some red herring. You can't fool me, Big Sock. So that night is Dia de los Muertos, and it's a big talent show that Miguel really wants to do. He's even made his own guitar. Okay, guys, been practicing Wonderwall for like weeks now, but then his grandma finds out.
That man is Ernesto de la Cruz, the greatest musician of all time.
We've never known anything about this man. Wherever he was, he still abandoned his family.
You want to end up like that man? Forgotten, left off your family. So, Brenda.
I don't care if I'm on some stupid ofrenda.
So in case you don't know, an ofrenda is this big table thing for Dia de los Muertos that they put their ancestors' pictures on so the spirits can like cross over on that night, you know? And they put these like flower petals on the ground to help guide them, which is, but like, you know there's gotta be at least one uncle somewhere who's like, yeah, I know how to get around, okay, I used to live here. But more importantly, you still got my box of Hustler magazines upstairs? But okay, anyway.
Mama!
Guitar, no music.
You know, the same kind of thing used to happen to me at school. Like, teachers would like rip up and throw away like all the little drawings I was doing in class. Well, look how that all turned out, Mrs. Anderson. Now, as you can probably imagine, Miguel's having some feelings about all this, unless his family know what's what. Now, I'm with you, Miguel. One time when I was like 10, my mom told me to mow the lawn, so I missed like half of Toonami that day. Oh, this is the final straw. I'm moving away forever. Don't even try and stop me. So Miguel runs away and tries to steal Ernesto's guitar that's sitting up in like his mausoleum, because he still really wants to play that talent show. And besides, he's just following the sage advice of Ernesto himself.
Great-great-grandfather? What am I supposed to do?
Mom's spaghetti, but that's when something a little weird happens.
All right, who's in there?
I'm sorry, it's not what it looks like. De La Cruz is like...
That's right, turns out, somehow, mysterious magic, Miguel's been transported to the land of the dead, the skeleton world. Well, actually, if you think about it, we're already in the skeleton world. Whoa, dude. But now that Miguel is here, we get to see what this world is really like.
Next? Yes, it is I, Frida Kahlo.
Well, shoot. Looks like no one put up your photo. Frida.
Okay, when I said I was Frida just now, that was a lie.
You don't say. Anyway, so just to summarize here, Miguel ends up running into his dead relatives, who are really surprised to see him there, if you can imagine that, and they're also Miguel's great-great-grandmother, Imelda, this lady, for some reason she can't cross over.
But none of this explains why I wouldn't cross over. You took my photo of Loretta? You were making it always in the back.
Now, it turns out sending Miguel back is actually pretty simple. All they have to do is just give him their blessing, and you can just go back. Wham, blam, blooper, bow, movie's over, right, guys?
I give you my blessing to go home, to put my photo back on your agenda, and to never play music again. What?
Mariachi Plaza, here I come.
Yeah, so his family only wants to see him back, and he promises to never play music ever. Now, while this is all good, also this police station, there's this Summer, he's in trouble because he tried to break through the gate and brute force his way into the world of the living. Which, like, I don't know why, though. 'Cause, I mean, have you met the living people? I mean, you ever worked a customer service job? Like, you ever just want to John Wick everybody? But whatever. Anyway, Miguel overhears him talking to a policeman about he totally definitely knows Ernesto de la Cruz, okay? So you should like do what he says. Kind of in the same way as how like in high school, like I totally knew my Canadian girlfriend wanted to come to prom, but like her mom got kidnapped by ninjas, so she's busy again this year too, okay? But then Miguel's like,
Exactly. Now let's get it.
Cheese, can I have your autograph?
Waiting on you, baby.
Cheese, right here, cheese, right here, right here.
Oh, you could say that I'm, looking like a snack. Want it? Need it? Cheese?
You really know De La Cruz?
Who wants to? You're alive!
Yeah, I'm alive. And if I want to get back to the land of the living, I need De La Cruz's blessing.
That's weird.
He's my great-great-grandfather.
and so this sets in motion the rest of the movie, where Miguel is tagging along the action. He sort of kind of knows the guy who owns the guy who spoke to Ernesto once, like 6 years ago. And this leads to Miguel going on an adventure about how Yep, there's that signature Pixar special sauce where they make the cutest, most colorful movie of all time, and then they just throw in one of these. What a wackadoo, silly skeleton world full of music and dancing and hot babes. And one day, everyone in the world will forget about you, and then when they do, your soul will disappear forever. Anyway, tamales. So long story short, Miguel and Hector enter this world's version of the talent show from earlier, and they end up making friends with this group of people who win the competition and help them to sneak into the party to meet Ernesto.
Music is my language.
Okay, so I don't mean to nitpick here. I told you. But like, why is he rushing to save Miguel if they think he's a skeleton like them? You know, like you've seen these people doing this kind of stuff. So like, is falling in water just like one step too far?
You're all anyone has been talking about. Why have you come here?
I'm Miguel. Your great-great-grandson.
I have a great-great-grandson.
I mean, you're like a famous musician actor, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure you got at least 4,000 of these running around. Like, you can't be right now? This dude's probably like the Nick Cannon of his generation. Anyway, so Ernesto wants to hang out with Miguel a bit more. But throughout the movie, we've seen how Miguel is like slowly shifting into a skeleton. And I guess we're just supposed to assume that when the sun rises the next day, he'll be dead like permanently.
Sorry to see you go, Miguel. I hope you die very soon.
But that's when Hector shows up and we finally learn what's really going on here.
Whose fault is that? So buy something. Buy something because you never
That's right. Turns out Hector and Ernesto used to be best friends. Hector wrote all the most famous songs, but Ernesto got jealous and poisoned Hector, taking all the But so Hector and Miguel both end up in this prison pit thing. That's when the truth finally comes out about everything.
Daughter, I wish I could apologize. I wish I could tell her that I was trying to go home. Coco.
Wait a minute, Coco is the name of Miguel's great-grandmother, and there's literally no possible way that any two people could ever have the same names. That means Hector is actually Miguel's great-great-grandfather in the picture.
That's my mama Coco. That's my mama Imelda. Is that you?
And so this brings us to the end of the movie, where the rest of the family finally catches up to Miguel and breaks them out of the prison, and then they have to fight their way to Ernesto to get the picture of Hector that he has, because remember, the family totally shunned Hector and removed every picture of him, so they have nothing left to put on the ofrenda. Now, of course, this brings Hector and Imelda back together, who somehow have not spoken much in 80 years, I guess.
Just have to find De La Cruz.
Yes? Don't I know you?
That's for murdering the love of my life.
Who the? She's talking about me.
I'm the love of your life.
I don't know. I'm still angry at you.
Hey, honey, she says the same stuff you do all the time. But now this brings us to the last little wrinkle in the story, which is, as we saw earlier, if you're completely forgotten, your soul disappears forever, right? And the only person alive who remembers Hector is Coco, but Coco has late-stage dementia, so she still thinks it's 1957 or something. Hey there, Mama Coco, how you doing today? If you want a job, just march right in there, give them a firm handshake, and don't take no for an answer. That's nice, Mama Coco. Here, it's time for your favorite bread. Applesauce and medicine. What do you mean I can't drink and drive anymore? I thought this was America. So Miguel needs to get the picture of Hector and get back to the living world as soon as he can to put it on the ofrenda, or else Hector's gonna cease to exist. But the picture ends up getting lost, and so Miguel's only option is to hurry back to the other world and try to get his great-grandmother to remember Hector just a little bit longer.
Mama Coco, can you hear me? It's me again.
Oh, Miguel, it's crazy.
Remember, Papa? Please.
Did you know that Shrek and Danny Phantom make out sometimes? It's true, I saw it on DeviantArt.
If you forget him, he'll be gone forever. This was his guitar, right? He used to play it to you?
Hey, Miguel, do you know what it means when someone tells me to throw it back for a real one? But just when it looks like nothing's gonna work, Miguel has to defy his family one last time and play music. And so he plays Ernesto's most famous song, which was actually the song that Hector wrote for Coco all those years ago.
Mama, wait.
Remember me. Though I have to say goodbye, remember me.
Man, this movie. Pixar was just on their A game, you know? They used to be so good at this, where the movie's really cute and fun, but it's also super dark and mature. And this one's about death, but more so it's about being forgotten before being forgiven, and Hector being forgotten, which is super dark, especially for a kid's movie. But yeah, so in the end, Coco remembers her dad, and turns out that she has the ripped piece of the original photo. So they put it back together and put it on the ofrenda, which allows Hector to cross over to the land of the living forever, along with Coco, who passes soon after this. And that's more or less the end of the movie. So this one is definitely up there in S-tier Pixar movies, right? One thing I really appreciate about this movie is how the way all the pieces of the story fall into place, it feels really organic and logical. The way Hector is introduced, for example. At first, he's just part of this visual gag about how the skeleton world is an airport. And then because Miguel takes the photo with him, he ends up in the police station where Hector is. And just the way they kind of meet and how Hector becomes a main character, I thought it was just really well done. This movie never felt too contrived, to me at least. Not that the story's super highbrow, cerebral masterpiece or whatever, but just the way things flow is very organic. It doesn't feel insulting to the audience, if you know what I mean. I don't know if this movie's the best Pixar movie ever, but it's definitely up there. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please watch another one. That's how the algorithm works. So click on this one that's being recommended to you right now, right here on the screen. It actually helps a lot if you do that, because that's how YouTube knows that my videos are worth caring about. Also, if you have any movies or TV shows you'd like to recommend, send me an email at alexmyerscontact@gmail.com, and I'll put them on my absurdly long list of movies that I need to get to at some point. Anyway, hope I made your day a little bit better, and I'll see you all next time. I never thought I'd do a Pixar movie on this channel. I don't know why, I just never thought I would. Too mainstream, I only talk about obscure underground indie like Twilight or High School Musical. But then I started making videos about Despicable Me and just threw all the rules in the trash. Disney and Pixar recently said that they're set on forever making only sequels and prequels now. They're not gonna waste their time on those silly personal autobiographical stories, okay? Because we all know that true art's created in a vacuum, free of all those pesky human experiences and social limits. Hence, Toy Story 5, now Inside Out. Turns out I had completely forgotten that I saw Inside Out when it was in theater. You see, when I saw it, I was on a date with this girl, right? And It was pretty much like that scene in Twilight New Moon where I basically spent the first 40 minutes of the movie just slowly inching my hand across the armrest, and eventually our fingers just like barely touch, you know, and I was like... So yeah, I kind of forgot that I even saw this movie. But then Kelsey and I watched it again for this video, and you know, I gotta say, Inside Out is probably Pixar's last great movie. No, hold on. I know some of you are gonna do that internet thing, you know, where it's like, I love pancakes. Why do you hate waffles? Turning Red is very good. It's very good, okay? But I just don't think it has that same Pixar magic that like WALL-E, Up, Monsters Inc., or Inside Out had. Actually, Coco might be up there too. I don't remember. I have to watch it again. Maybe it's just because I've never turned red before. But all the same, now that Inside Out 2 is in theaters, what do you say we go back and check out Inside Out, the first? Come along, kids. Let's take a walk.
You ever look at someone and wonder, what is going on inside their head?
I mean, honestly, I think most people are pretty simple, you know? Like Kelsey, the inside of her head's like 80% Uber Eats, about 15% Instagram clothing sales, and like 5% thinking about how I could totally probably get away with murder if I wanted to.
And there she was.
Hey, good thing this movie came out in 2015 and not 2024, you know what I'm saying? Or else we would have been like, oh, there she is, our little chlamydia. Anyway, so this is joy, and joy is the happiness emotion inside the head of our main character, Riley. So the movie goes through Riley's growing up phases, and we see her discovering her emotions the way kids do.
Well, I just saved our lives. Yeah, you're welcome.
Riley, you don't eat for dinner.
Okay, so a little bit ago I made a video about Inside Out, in which I said it was Pixar's last great movie. And again, just to reiterate here, I'm not saying that the movies they did after that are bad. It's just that, in my opinion, they don't quite reach the same level as, like, all of these. Now, Kelsey and I saw the second one in theaters, and now that it's out on Amazon, I watched it again, and I can finally say that Inside Out 2 is... actually, like, okay, it's fine. It's pretty good. But hey, what do you say we talk about it for a little bit? So, come along, kids. Let's take a walk. So, Inside Out 2 is mainly broken up into 3, like, parallel plot threads. There's Riley, Joyce, and our new best friend, Anxiety. So, the movie starts off with us catching up with our good old pal, Riley.
Riley is still exceptional. Ta-da! And not just because she's the top of her class, which, by the way, she is. She's also really kind. Oh, and she's officially a teenager now.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Get ready for her internet search history to be full of the worst AO3 fanfic that anyone has ever written. My mother was heavy in debt to a local mafia boss. She was forced to sell me into slavery, and so I had to move in with my new masters, Shadow the Hedgehog and Tony the Tiger.
Universal Technical Institute's Automotive Technology program can help you develop the skills needed to kickstart a career as an auto mechanic. Learn in-demand industry skills to pursue a career you're passionate about. Apply today.
So I had to move in with my new masters, Shadow the Hedgehog and Tony the Tiger. So first thing, Joey and friends fill us in on what's been going on between this movie and the first one, and all the big and small ways Riley has changed.
Riley's personality islands are still going strong. Glad to see Boy Band Island finally broke up.
But football is still funkying around.
Family Island. It's right there.
Okay, why would it be so small if parents didn't always somehow get like 1,000 times more annoying as soon as you turn 13? Coincidence? Now back in the first movie, the main big MacGuffin thing was Riley's memories and how they relate to the emotions, right? But in this movie, they've gone one step further, and now we have Riley's beliefs.
But we realized her islands aren't the only things made by memories. Way down at the root level, these memories are also creating beliefs.
So the whole thing with beliefs is that her emotions and memories put together form a self-affirmation about who she is and how she is. Like being a good friend.
Did you know the change in your couch could change the world?
Sorry, I'm just trying to get
years of your life into a relationship and found out the other person just thought of you as a safe stopgap until they found something they actually like? What if you just never slept ever again?
Okay, so remember back in the first movie how Joy learned about, like, artificially trying to control Riley's mind was bad or whatever? Well, guess who does not remember learning that lesson, apparently? But all the same, one day, despite Joy's best efforts, everything changes. Shut up, Mom! This family's stupid! No one understands me!
You're always the mommy! What's wrong? Oh, Mom looks sad.
Okay, so while all of this is happening, Riley is really big. And during one of the days, the coach of the hockey high school invites her and her friends to come to a 3-day summer hockey camp thing, which is a really big deal, apparently.
Congratulations on your win!
What's the high school coach?
Woo! The three of you were impressive.
Thanks, Coach Roberts.
Look, it's last minute, but every year I do a 3-day skills camp. I invite all the best players in the area. I'd love for you girls to come.
And so Riley and her best friend are off to hockey camp, which is where the majority of the movie takes place.
Okay, until we can figure this out, nobody touch the console unless you really need to.
So, big weekend. What do you want to do?
Well, we could finally clean up.
What's that face, Dad? What's on your mind there, Dad? But just when everything's looking like it's going to be real sweat, the first shoe drops.
Coach Roberts isn't going to be our coach next year. We got assigned to a different high school.
Aha!
Oh, okay.
And so this sets the stage for the rest of the movie, which is that. And now Riley has to figure out how to make new friends for high school, which feels weirdly small compared to the first movie. Like in the first movie, Riley's entire life is uprooted just all of a sudden, out of nowhere. And she has to move to a new city, live in a new house, go to a new school, and her only friend is thousands of miles away. But then in this movie, it's just like a 3-day hockey camp, and her friends are still in the same city, they're just not in the same school. Like, I don't know, it feels like way less complicated. Anyway, so while Riley's walking to school, she runs into the coolest girl ever of all time.
Everybody out the front door. It's Valentina Ortiz. I'm Val.
I know, he's all kinds of representatives. You wear your favorite colors red and your skates at
You're the one supposed to focus about. Riley, from Michigan, right?
No, she's from Minnesota, idiot. It's Minnesota, sweetie.
No.
Hey, that's what I just said.
We cannot correct Val Ortiz.
Yeah, that's me. Riley from the...
I remember there being a whole lot of hullabaloo going on about this movie when it came out. When we got the first trailers and screenshots, everyone was saying how it looked like the trailers weren't even finished rendered yet. But which was supposed to be Disney's big 100-year anniversary movie. And oh boy, this is going to be fantastic. There's no way it could suck. When it came out, everyone was just but now that it's finally out and stuff, I want to ready to buy, sell, and become your own billionaire tycoon? Install Monopoly. Use my link down below or scan it.
A man who works hard, sweats hard.
Old Spice.
See this? Sweat. So I trained constantly. The dreams. No correction. My record with a broken leg until Coach said,
I underestimated you, son.
sometimes a man must overcompensate.
When migraine strikes, do you question the trade-offs of treating? Ubrelvy is another option.
Well, looks like it's time once again for another exciting episode of... So, like, I was gonna do this whole intro about how there's never been more mediocre franchise that ruined the entire world like Despicable Me. But then I remembered that we all survived Shrek. For those of you who are ancient like me, do you remember how huge Shrek was? The franchise. We had Shrek ketchup, okay? The unfunniest guys in school who always had like 3 dance team girls fighting over them for some reason. Their entire personality was quoting Shrek and Napoleon Dynamite. And Despicable Me was basically that, but more successful, and now there's another one coming out? There's been 6 of these movies if you count the Minion spin-offs, okay? I mean, at least Shrek knew when to call it quits. I mean, there's only been 6. Anyway, Despicable Me, 25th Illumination movie, and set the mean world on fire. I tell you what, your mom's Facebook feed has never been the same again. Music by Hans Zimmer? What the heck was this movie? Stu Brody worked on Despicable Me and Inception at the same time. Anyway, so continuing my quest through every 2000s movie that appeals to me in any way at all, I figured it was time to absolutely demolish the few brain cells I have left and check out Despicable Me. So, as if you didn't already know, the main character of our story is this guy, Gru. Supervillain of all, the head of the HOA. I picked in high school, but now my wife won't let me see the kids anymore, so I take it out on you by complaining about your garbage cans every other week. Anyway, so this is Gru, the local supervillain. The setup of the world here is that there's a bunch of villains out there doing villains. No superheroes, just villains. Competition with each other. The worst so thick, so layers at a time, right? And then they make up a bunch of stuff about how all the clothes they just bought are gonna go out of fashion like 4 months from now, and they have to buy all new ones else they're gonna look stupid. However, one day, someone steals an entire Egyptian pyramid.
Tonight, as it was discovered that the Great Pyramid of Giza had been stolen and replaced by a giant inflatable replica. There is panic throughout the globe as countries and citizens try to protect their beloved landmark. Which of the world's villains is responsible for this heinous crime? And where will we strike next?
This villain, whoever, has just made all the other villains look real dumb, you know what I mean? So obviously Gru's not gonna stand for any nuts. So he assembles his minions and has to come up with some kind of master plan to get back on top of the game, even though he never was anyway, but whatever.
You guys have probably heard about this other villain who stole the pyramids. Apparently it's a big deal. Am I upset? A little, but we have had a pretty good year ourselves. And you guys are all running my boat. No raises.
Yeah, I can't give you any raises because I just bought a new yacht, you know how it is. But to show how much I care about you, here's the cheapest pizza I could find. Please don't unionize. So as we're going to find out later, Gru's plan is that he's going to steal the moon because it's bigger than a pyramid, in case you didn't know. And then that will make him the greatest villain of all time, right next to whoever decided that young Sheldon was so. And one of the reasons so much about
Someday I'm going to go to the moon. I'm afraid it's too late, son, as I am sending the monkey.
Look, Mom, I made the prototype of the rocket out of macaroni.
So, like, his motivation for everything he does is because he wants his mom to be proud of him or something. So he heads on over to the Bank of Evil, formerly Lehman Brothers. See me coming out in 2010 and having this, like, it's not even that funny, but it's just crazy. Anyway, so he goes into the bank and finds wait, and meets this other incredibly annoying villain.
Vector! That's me. I'm committing crimes with both direction and magnitude. Oh yeah!
Yeah, maybe you could just all the characters in this movie how body this world makes you think you look, you know what I mean? Like the way Kelsey and our friends talk about themselves, sometimes it's like they literally think they're built like Gru or Vector or frickin' Mike Wazowski, as if this isn't just the hottest physique anyone could ever have. I'm like, seriously though, girls will look like this and then they'll be like, okay, seriously, why do I literally look like a Minions character? Although to be fair, Elon Musk does look exactly like this dude, so there is that. Anyway, so Gru goes in to talk to the bank guy to try and get a loan so he can build something to allow him to steal the gold. But to do this, Gru needs a shrink ray, which, funny story, he does not have a shrink ray.
Look, Gru, the point is, there are a lot of new villains out there.
younger than you, hungrier than you, younger than you.
Like that young fellow out there named Victor. He just stole a pyramid.
Wait, hold on a second. This guy's the greatest villain of all time? This is just that weird kid in school who went on to study STEM in college. He's like, you all make fun of me now, but just you wait till the day you're washing my car, which would be bad because blue-collar jobs are the worst thing you could ever do, apparently. So the bank guy basically says he'll talk to Gru again about a loan and all that, if he can get the shrink. So he goes to steal it from whoever he can. But then, what do you know? Victor shows up and steals it from him. Can you believe it? This copy's broken. I'm still tired. Okay, so Victor now has the shrink ray, and Gru needs it to steal the moon, and also get a bank loan so he can do all this in the first place. But Victor's lair is very inconspicuous and airtight. There's no way Gru's getting in there. Sideways, we meet the other three main characters of this movie. These three girls, Agnes, Margot, and Edith, who all kind of look like characters from Recess, you know what I mean? Anyway, these three girls are orphans who live in this, like, happy rainbow unicorn house for girls, or whatever this is.
Premium is ad-free YouTube and exclusive access to all things VIP. So you can super fan go with YouTube is way more than that.
Get adopted, Edith. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
You know, when doing these videos like I've done over the years, like something I've noticed is how there's so many kids movies about how adults hate kids. Like, you know, Gru's mom, this lady, there's every Roald Dahl movie like Matilda, James the Giant Peach or whatever. It's like, there's something profoundly dark about having kids movies be about how like adults hate you and then kids are like, wow, this movie really hits you. Now, these three girls have been going around saying cookies to and at the beginning of the movie, I just sell some cookies to Gru, which went about as well as when anyone comes to my front door for literally any reason.
Cookies for sale.
Go away, I'm not home.
Yes, you are. I heard you.
No, you didn't. This is a recording.
Hey there, Mither. I noticed your roof is looking a little... Hey, don't talk to your neighbors about changing it.
My neighbors, I don't care what it is.
Peer pressure. Hey there, sir. Have you heard of a man named Joseph Smith? Girls selling cookies, and then the neighbors can use them to get in and steal the shrink ray or something. And of course that's great for them because they want to be adopted, obviously.
Please watch over us, and bless that we'll have a good night's sleep.
And bless that while we're sleeping, no bugs will crawl into our ears and lay eggs in our rooms.
Oh, you're one of these kids. Okay, yeah, the meaning really should have been the first.
And that the mommy and daddy will be nice.
Like I said, Gru realizes he can use these girls for his master. So he heads on over to the orphanage to adopt them, which is the thing you can just do.
I'll say you have made a list of some of your personal achievements. Thank you for that. I like reading.
Yeah, okay, as if you're not spending every weekend reading the entire Taken by the T-Rex extended universe. Taken by the T-Rex, ravished by the Triceratops. That time I got drunk and eating and a werewolf. 16% off.
And I see you have been given the Medal of Honor and a knighthood.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I decided I was finally desperate enough to make a video about Despicable Me. You know, I mean, minions are everywhere at this point, and I just kind of wanted to see like a scourge on humanity. At the end of that video, I said I would do the rest of the movies the video did. So, Despicable Me now. 2013 follow-up to the movie that ruined your mom's Facebook feed forever. Not a single classroom was safe on that. As soon as you were 60-something-year-old Spanish teacher was putting them up like already like 1,000 watts. But the everyday earbuds are even better now? Check this out. Quick charging, every 10 minutes of charge time gives you about 90 minutes of usage time. And these things last like 32 hours, so you're not going to be charging very often. All point connectivity, you can compare these two devices at the same time. So you listen to your podcast while you're feeding all the cats, vacuuming the floor, whatever, and then when you're done, you hop on your Nintendo Switch and you're ready to go instantly. Active noise cancellation, they have even better protection from weather, sweat, that kind of thing. True story here. I accidentally left my Raycon earbuds themselves in my pocket when I washed my shorts later that day, right? And I was like, wow, good thing these things don't cost very much anyway. But they still work just fine. Now, obviously, I would not recommend doing this, okay? But I'm just gonna say, you're getting way more out of these guys than you would get from ones that cost like 2 or 3 times. So, high quality, very good. Or you already have them here. You gotta try them. Click my link down below and just go to myraycon.com/minus and you'll get Raycon purchase plus free shipping. Okay, back to the show. So, it starts out with Agnes' birthday party. I assume she's turning like 3.5.
Life is more legal than
I said I would do it. By golly, here we are. Despicable Me 4, a global sensation that's earned like $1 bajillion so far. The continuation of the great experiment of how bad can a